Hey guys, welcome to Spooky Okie. I'm Catherine.
And I'm Madison.
And this week is our last episode for season 2.
I'm really sad about it, actually.
I know. I could not believe it when when we both realized it. We were like, oh my gosh, this is the last episode of season 2. It went by so fast.
It went by so fast. Last season was more of a can we make this a season thing because I need to be done, I need a break. Like, we got to 22 episodes and we were like...
We're done.
We couldn't do it anymore. Like, we were just so busy, like, we just couldn't do it. And we were like, we have to have a break. Like, we're not enjoying it anymore. So we're going to do seasons. And that's how we decided to do a season format instead of an actual, like, weekly, year-round format.
And that's how we got to that number, too, was...
Because that's when we just stopped.
We were done.
Actually, it was me. I texted Catherine and I said, a lot of people do seasons for their podcasts.
And I was like, oh, thank God she said it.
And, we're at 22 episodes, and that's, a pretty average number for, a TV season. So, I feel like we could just stop. We could just be done.
And I was like, oh, thank God she said it, because I needed a break.
Yeah. We both were like, we can't do this anymore. But then we came back for season 2, and we were like, we're ready to go. This is great. And it just flew by, and now I'm sad that it's done.
I'm like... I wish we weren't stopping at 22.
I know, me too. I'm kind of like, well, I just kind of want to keep going.
I know. Maybe we could, if we wanted to, we could always start season 3 earlier.
We could. We don't have to wait until October.
Yeah.
There are lots of things to think about. Yes. But we do have things planned. We're talking about season 3 already. We're talking about what we're going to do for Patreon in the meantime.
We've got some investigations that we just have to schedule dates for that we know we're going to do.
Yeah. We're going to do some investigations. And we also, are going to do pretty regular Patreon content this time. Between season 1 and season 2, we did nothing on Patreon at all. We're not going to do that this time.
Right. This time you
guys are paying.
You're paying money, and we're going to give you something.
We're going to continue meeting.
Yes.
And giving you content.
Yes.
So if you want to continue the content, you don't want a break in between season 2 and 3, you better join Patreon. Because that's where it's going to be.
$3 a month, right?
$3 a month. It's nothing.
Hey, that's less than a Starbucks drink.
It is. Significantly less. My Starbucks drinks are $9.
It depends on what mood I'm in. If I'm in bougie mood, then it's not $10, but it's $8 probably,
yeah.
$7-8. If I'm not in bougie mood, then it's $5.
Have I told you what drink I've been getting lately?
I don't think so, but I discovered a new one that I liked.
What did you discover?
It doesn't have lots of add-ons. It's just the menu thing. But the cinnamon dolce latte.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Really good. If you like cinnamon, it's not strong cinnamon, and so that's why I liked it. Because that's why I have been hesitant to try it.
Yeah.
Because I don't like super strong cinnamon.
I do. I love cinnamon.
I like hints of cinnamon taste, and well done.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Real good, and not strong coffee either. So if you're a person that doesn't like a strong coffee taste, that likes more dessert coffee, it's not
that's me.
Super dessert, but it's not coffee. It's a nice kind of mid-range.
I'm gonna have to try that.
It's really good.
Have you tried any of their lavender stuff?
No, but I saw that.
Do you like lavender?
I do like lavender.
I know some people are like, that's weird.
No, I love the smell, and I love lavender coffees. I've had lavender coffees before and loved them.
I've been getting, so I normally get, this is a ridiculous order. I normally get an iced chai tea latte with brown sugar syrup, vanilla sweet cream cold foam, and made with oat milk, and cinnamon on top. I think I'm leaving something out, and I don't remember what. But that's my order. Instead of the vanilla sweet cream cold foam, I've been getting the lavender cold foam, and it is so good.
Dang.
It's so good.
Okay.
That's my, $9 drink.
Yeah, you're going to have to text that to me.
I will text that to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
welcome to our true crime paranormal coffee podcast.
That would be so fun.
That would. Okay, now I'm thinking about possible names. Okay.
For Patreon.
For Patreon.
Join Patreon to see what we decide to do.
A sip of spooky?
Ooh. Okay. We'll shop it.
Okay.
Great.
Okay.
Thanks for joining us. It's going to be a great episode. We're trying something new with the audio, too. I'm trying to actually do my job of, editing and thoroughly recording and not just being let's start a Zoom and call it good and take whatever audio we get from that. I'm recording audio separately.
I have not complained, just FYI, because Madison does all the tech stuff. We learned from episode 1 that I was not going to be the tech person, as you all know. Considering I broke the mic.
That's true. That's true. No, nobody's complained.
Okay.
I have complained to myself that the audio is not what I want it to be. It's very bad. So I'm hoping it's better this time.
She has a little bit of perfectionist tendencies.
A little bit.
I mean, I do too, actually. But not in that way.
I do. If I'm doing something, I want it to be good.
Yeah.
But I just decided to make it good this final episode.
Yeah.
Because why not?
I am a perfectionist with most things, except when it comes to lesson plans. And then I'm like, let's just half-ass it, because I don't really give a crap.
Yeah. I don't get paid enough to do that.
No.
So, anyway.
I teach Spanish every day. Do I actually look at lesson plans that I submit?
No. Nobody uses... No, you make things up to turn in, and then do your job.
Do your job. Yeah.
Because you're an adult, and you don't need to answer to somebody every step of the way. Yep. Anyway, okay. I left education. So,
I've thought about it, but I'm still in it.
Woohoo! Yay! Thanks for joining us, you guys.
I'm on spring break.
You are.
I'm about to end spring break, unfortunately.
What did you do on your spring break?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked, Madison. As you know, if you listened to the last episode, I had a colonoscopy over spring break. My very first. Thanks, Dad. My dad had colon cancer when he was 39, and since I turned 29 this year, I had to get my first colonoscopy. Go get your preventative care.
Yes.
And so listeners voted for me to wear a shirt, this very specific shirt to my colonoscopy.
What was the shirt, Catherine? Or should I just put a picture right here? I'll put a picture right here. Isn't it so good? I don't know if I know how to do that. I'm gonna have to figure it out now.
It just in case. Well, people that are listening to the podcast.
Oh yes, this is also audio. So I showed her a shirt, which I can't take the credit for this. I saw like a TikTok or something about it. Like I've seen it. Like I didn't come up with the idea. But I showed Catherine a shirt that is like a UFO abducting somebody, and it says "Get in, loser. We're doing butt stuff." And I told her she should wear that to her colonoscopy, obviously.
And I voted no on the poll, just FYI.
But everybody else voted yes. And so I bought her the shirt and had it shipped to her house.
She didn't trust me to order it myself.
I said, I will handle this.
She was just like, just want to make sure, like, your, address is the right shipping address. Yep. Okay. All right, it's on its way. It'll be here at such and such time.
I was tracking it, too.
She was. She was like, your shirt should have been here by now.
Yep.
Yes, I've got it.
So good.
But I will say the nurses loved it.
I'm so glad. We haven't really talked about this yet.
No, we haven't.
Briefly through text, but that's it.
So the receptionist, one of the receptionists, she was taking down some notes and she kind of looked at my shirt and then she did a double take and then she just started laughing. She was like, I love that you were wearing that shirt. I wanted to get it, but they told me I couldn't wear it because it was unprofessional.
You don't have to be professional because you're the patient, so.
And I was like, I feel like since I'm 29 and I'm a young patient to be getting a colonoscopy, I gotta make it fun somehow.
Absolutely.
So, wore that shirt. My nurse, when she saw it, was just laughing. She had to call on another nurse to come.
Amazing.
So, and actually, I didn't get a picture with my actual nurse. I got a picture with this other nurse that she called in, Alyssa. So,
shout out to Alyssa.
Shout out to Alyssa. She loved it. She was the one that helped guide me out after I was coming.
Yeah.
I was out of anesthesia and trying to get out of the building.
Yeah.
But everything came back clear, so I'm good. So then I got Chick-fil-A and then I had pho. So
nice. I feel like I was gonna say my spring break. I didn't have spring break, but I think my time during that was probably better than yours.
Yeah. So Madison, what did you do?
I went to the Crescent Hotel in Eureka Springs.
I'm so jealous.
If you don't know what the Crescent Hotel is, go listen to our episode about it because I told all about it.
And that was episode...
Yeah. Season 2, episode 10.
Episode 10. Okay.
So, go listen to it. I was nervous that I was going to get there and go on a ghost tour and find out I had given all completely wrong information. But no, it was pretty good.
Good.
I did a good job.
Good.
So, glad about that. It's quite a relief.
Nice.
But it was a great time. I stayed in Theodora's room.
So jealous. Did you get to talk to Theodora?
I didn't talk to her. I didn't take any ghost stuff.
Okay.
There was one thing that I was like, interesting. I think it was Theodora. I mean, it was Theodora. That's what I'm saying anyway.
Yeah, it's Theodora.
It's Theodora. So Theodora is known for, like, she will, like, clean up after you if she likes you. Like, she's known to, like, stack change if she likes you. Like, if you leave change out, she'll, like, stack it for you. Or, like, just kind of, like...
Tidy up?
Yeah, she'll tidy up. If you, like, kick your shoes off, she'll, like, put them nicely by the bed or something. Like,
okay.
But if she doesn't like you, she will pack all your stuff up in your suitcase.
Like, angrily pack.
Yeah. Like, get it all out of here. So, I guess she liked us. Because Jeff took his glasses off and just, like... had thrown them on the bed, and then the next morning we were looking for his glasses on the bed, and we couldn't find them, and then we looked over at one of the nightstands, and we were like, they were like folded nicely and set on the nightstand, and neither of us did that.
That's so cool. I love Theodora.
Yeah. So she didn't want his glasses to get broken.
Aw, that's so sweet.
Isn't that sweet? We love her.
Aw, Theodora.
We had one little incident where there was like a family outside of our room at like midnight with like a loud beeping machine.
Ghost hunting?
Ghost hunting with their children, but like right outside of our door, and it was like beeping so loud, and it was like midnight. And so we were just like, hey, we'll let you know if anything happened. Nothing's happened yet. Just to be like, you gotta go. Like, you can't, PSA for anybody who wants to go ghost hunting. Like, you can be outside of people's rooms, but not in the middle of the night with loud equipment.
Right. Or you can be outside of the room, but like you said, not with loud equipment.
Yeah.
Like, we walked down the halls of the Skirvin, but we didn't, like...
silently.
We were doing it as quiet as possible. In fact, like, there were multiple times we, like, turned down the sound on things because we were like, I don't know if that's too loud or not.
Yeah. And, like, we weren't standing right outside of people's doors recording things. No. Like, we were, like, in front of the elevators or something. Like, if we were out of our room, we were, like, not standing right in front of somebody's door. Which, like, I get it. Like, we were in the haunted room. That kind of comes with it a little bit. But, like, you still don't do that at, like, midnight. Like, we still also needed to sleep. So, anyway. Yeah. But went on the ghost tour, and it was very cool. Nice. Highly recommend. It was a lot of fun.
Cool.
Learned about all the ghosts, which I already knew about. I would, like, the tour guide would, like, say something, and I would be like, oh, it was blah, blah, blah. Like, just, like, whisper. Because I'm like, I'm not going to mess it up for everybody else, but, like, he's already heard the episode, I think. I think he listened to that one. And so I would be like, oh, it was so-and-so, or, like, it was, this happened. And then she would, like, say exactly what it was, and I was like, I'm so good. I know my
Her
stuff.
Flip.
Yeah.
But I know what I'm talking about.
It was very cool. It was very cool. We got to, like, go downstairs into what had been, like, the morgue area where they had the bodies, into, like, the room where they would just, like, stick the bodies. Like,
oh, wow.
It was cool. I got a lot of pictures, so I'll put them on our Instagram.
Cool.
I'll do a post about it or an Instagram story or something.
Nice.
So it was very cool. I have a picture of Brecky, little 4-year-old Brecky.
Oh.
That goes through the hallway, like a picture of him, like, when he was alive. Not, like, of his ghost.
That'd be cool, too, though.
That would be cool, too. But no, it was very cool.
Nice.
So, it was a good time.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
We should get started.
We've been going
for, like, 20 minutes.
Holy moly. Okay. All right. So, we have a strange and spooky episode to end off season 2. Madison, do you want to start us off?
I would love to start us off. If I can get my iPad unlocked. Okay,
I mean, I feel like we shouldn't break with tradition.
Yeah, we have to keep it the same.
Okay.
Right? Okay. Yeah. I'm so excited to tell you. I've been holding on to this one a little bit.
Okay.
Because it's, like, something I've heard about. I haven't ever really looked into it, but it's just, like, weird.
I saw your title, and I've heard of it, but I don't think I could tell you what exactly it is.
Well, great. Okay. Perfect. So I'm going to be talking about the Viking Runestone.
I'm excited.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I did we talk about this in, like, Coach Garner's, like, history class?
I don't know.
Okay.
We were in different grades
That's
in
true,
school,
we were.
so
I know,
you guys may have talked about it.
I know, but sometimes we had the same. In high school, we had a couple times. But, okay. I think we might have talked about this.
Maybe. It's pretty interesting. So my sources are Wikipedia, obviously. Atlas Obscura.
Okay.
BBC. Travelok. TheOklahomaExplorer.com.
Oh, okay.
All That's Interesting.
Nice.
The Oklahoman. And OK History.
All right.
So.
I love it when the spooky stuff is on Travelok.
They always put the spooky stuff. Whoever runs that website, good job. They they lean into it. They're like, we know what'll bring people.
Yes, and that we should.
Yeah,
like,
why
I
not?
don't understand it when people are like, oh, we don't want to put that on there. It might attract people.
Isn't that
tourism? Tourism.
Yeah. As long as it's not like a private property, then absolutely.
Then do it.
Yeah. In LaFleur County, Oklahoma, near the town of Heavener, lies an unsolved mystery.
All right.
On Podo Mountain lies a 10-foot by 12-foot sandstone slab with carvings that are controversially attributed to Vikings.
Okay.
But this thing is huge. When I thought, like, runestone, I thought it was, like, kind of a boulder, like, that's, like, a decent... No, it's 10 feet by 12 feet.
Holy
it's
moly.
Huge.
That's big.
It's not what I pictured when I was
thinking a smaller stone.
Yeah, me too. But it's 10 feet by 12 feet.
Okay, cool.
So this is known as the Heavener Runestone.
All right.
The earliest mention of this Oklahoma runestone came from the late 1830s when a Choctaw hunting party stumbled upon the ruins.
Okay.
Since then, locals in the area mistakenly referred to the rock as, quote, Indian rock, believing that Native Americans made the inscriptions.
Okay.
So, and then in 1874, it was reportedly seen again by white trappers.
Okay.
Then, so there's, like, a lot of years in between where, like, nobody was talking about it.
Interesting.
It had just, like, little mentions here and there.
Okay. Enough to, like, keep it going through history, like, people realize what it was.
But it never was, like, a big tourist attraction,
Okay.
like, nothing like that. And then there's 1874, somebody said they saw it, like, a trapper said they saw it.
Mm-hmm.
And then nothing again until, like, 1928, I think.
Okay.
So, in 1928, it was seen by Gloria Farley from Heavener as she was hiking.
Okay.
She was just a little girl at the time.
Aww.
I know. But she was fascinated by it, and so she returned 2 decades later to study it. She, like, learned about runestones, she was, like, kind of an amateur, like, archaeologist person.
love that.
Like, she was just like, I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to solve this mystery.
That is so cool.
Isn't that cool? It had, like, caught her attention as a child,
Yeah.
and she, like, fixated on it. She was like, I'm gonna solve this.
That is cool.
So cool. So, she spent a majority of her adult life studying the runestone and trying to prove that Vikings had inscribed the sandstone in the 11th century.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, Gloria went as far as contacting the Smithsonian to try to get more information about the runestone.
Wow.
And she discovered they had already looked into it.
Really?
They also knew about it, apparently.
Okay.
So in 1923, 5 years before she saw it as a child, they identified the 8 carved characters as Scandinavian.
Cool.
Mm-hmm. They were originally interpreted as Gnomedal, like Gnomedal.
Okay.
With gnome and dal, I don't know if I'm saying these right, translated as Sundial Valley or Monument Valley.
Okay.
But then, this is going to skip ahead in time a little bit just to, like, clarify meanings.
Okay.
That's not ahead, that's backwards.
Mm-hmm.
In 1986, Dr. Richard Nielsen at the University of Denmark determined that the markings should be translated as Glomedal, so instead of an N, it would have been an L.
Okay.
Meaning Glomes Valley, which indicated a land claim. That they were using it as a land claim.
Oh, okay. Which would make sense.
Yeah. But then another interpretation involves the belief that the markings are encryptions to represent the date November 11th, 1012. The year 1012.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. That would be insanely early.
Insanely early. Which she's trying to prove 11th century.
Right.
So it's not, yeah.
Interesting.
Yep. So, with this information from the Smithsonian, Gloria began contemplating whether Scandinavian explorers could have carved the runes into the Oklahoma runestone.
See, I really think that Coach Garner talked about this.
Probably. This sounds like something he would talk about.
I think he talked about this and when we were talking about, like, early explorers that traveled through Oklahoma, and he talked about...
I wonder what he said about it.
I don't know.
I wish you remembered.
I wish I did too. I'm sorry, Coach Garner. But I think he did. I think he talked about that as an example of why we think Vikings made it all the way into Oklahoma.
Yeah. Wild.
So.
Wild. So the idea that Viking settlers could have made it to America was nothing new. Like, that's been talked about.
Right.
So a lot of scholars believe that Leif Erikson, a Norse explorer, which, okay, what do you think of when you hear Leif Erikson?
I think of Vikings.
Okay. I think of SpongeBob.
Oh, I didn't watch SpongeBob.
Oh, yeah,
I wasn't allowed to watch SpongeBob.
My siblings watched it, so I was just, like, there.
Oh, okay.
And I wasn't, like, a fan of it, but they loved it. But
I
think of
Vikings.
Patrick being like, Happy Leif Erikson Day.
Oh.
So, okay, anyway,
No,
you have a normal adult thought, and I think of a child cartoon.
Cool. Because my mom was like, this is stupid. I won't allow you to watch it because I don't want to watch it.
Can't blame her. That's the sort of thing I do. I'm like, I don't like this show, turn it off.
Yeah.
So anyway, a lot of scholars believe that Leif Erikson, a Norse explorer, managed to travel to modern-day Canada nearly 500 years before Columbus, and that he, in fact, is the one who discovered America. Although, obviously, he did not discover America because there were already people living here, so even if he beat Columbus here, neither of them discovered it. It was discovered and inhabited. Yes. Just need to point that out. Yeah. So, neither of them discovered it. I don't know about Leif Erikson. I know Columbus was
the first person to rediscover it.
Quote, unquote, discover. Ugh. Gross. Can't you tell we... Okay, anyway. I'll move on. So... I'm sorry. I can't say something like that.
I know. And it's...
I have to make it clear what I think.
Yeah. That we do not agree with the whitewashing of history. Yeah. Yeah.
Happy Indigenous Peoples Day, not Columbus Day.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, so 2 sagas from 1200. It breaks my brain that time goes back that far. Yeah. But 2 sagas from 1200 detail Ericsson's voyage to Vinland or modern-day Newfoundland. Okay. So, because of these theories, Gloria didn't think it was unrealistic that some Vikings may have traveled up the Mississippi River. Yes. So she believes...
And that's what I was thinking, is that Coach Garner said they traveled up to Mississippi and then ended up going off of a tributary to the Mississippi into Oklahoma. Yeah. Is that what... Okay.
Yeah, so she believed that Vikings could have easily traveled south from Newfoundland along North America's eastern seaboard, then swung around the tip of Florida to the Gulf of Mexico, where they could enter the Mississippi River, which flowed into the Arkansas River, which in turn led into the Poteau River in Oklahoma. Yeah. Which, like, the way she explains it is that, like, some of these rivers, like, the Poteau River, I assume is, like, pretty small. She was talking about, like, back in the day, these things that are just, like, little creeks and stuff, like, before there was, like, man-made waterways and man-made dams and things like that, like, these were a lot bigger. So, like, it's not unrealistic to think they could have used this to navigate. Like, so it's not like really they went up a tiny random creek and ended up in Oklahoma. Like, it's not.
And it's not like we're talking about, like, a huge cruise ship. Right. We're talking about, like, smaller ships that I don't know how they make it across an ocean anyways.
Yeah. Insane. That in itself is, like, wild.
So these ships would be able to make it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So. For sure, especially with the waterways being so much bigger than they were, or than they are today. Right. So, anyway, that is her theory. That's what she thinks happened, or could have happened. And the idea actually isn't as far-fetched as it might kind of sound, because reported Viking runestones have been found in other places throughout North America. Okay. Including in Kensington, Minnesota, and Spirit Pond in Maine. And Oklahoma itself has unearthed 6, which is more than any other state.
Really? Mm-hmm. Although the Vikings know a good state when they come to it. They do. They know good land.
Although the authenticity is still in question. So, I want to believe it. I want to believe that happened. I don't know. We'll see. Okay. So, however, one Norse settlement on the northernmost tip of the island of Newfoundland, Canada, has been proven to date to at least 1021. Okay. Which provides a concrete time frame for Viking activity in North America. Yeah. And it coincides with the estimated age of the Heavener Runestone. Cool. So, it's possible.
That's possible.
Like, none of this is proven, but none of it is impossible either. Right. Like,
it's within the realm of possibility. Maybe questionable,
but, like, it could be. Who knows? Who knows?
Who knows? It's within the realm of possibility.
Yeah. It was a very long time ago. Yeah. We will never know, but, like, it could be. Yeah. So, Gloria's theory was strengthened when locals found 2 additional sandstone slabs, each with runic markings. These weren't enough to be translated, though. Okay. But they were just a mile north and a mile south of the Heavener Runestone.
So almost like pinpoints to locate the big runestone.
Yeah. Okay. Park officials say this indicates that the carvings were boundary markers. Like, they kind of thought, like a land claim, that sort of thing. Yeah. So, okay. Yeah, which makes sense.
That makes sense.
Makes sense. Similar runestones have also been found in Poto, Shawnee, and Tulsa.
I didn't know Shawnee had one.
Me neither. Okay. I don't know where it is, or it may be smaller and have been removed. Like, who knows?
It might have been. I wonder if it's in the museum near St. Greg's.
Oh, maybe.
That'd be cool.
I don't know. I didn't look into it. I probably should have. Anyway, I didn't. So, so I really want to believe the Vikings were here because it would be cool. Most scholars believe this is not the case.
Well, darn.
I know.
I disagree.
There are a lot of things about the Oklahoma runestones that don't really add up, unfortunately. No. I know. I have to go into it, though.
I know. I like the Viking theory.
Me too.
Though.
And it's not impossible.
It's not impossible.
It's not impossible. It is possible.
Okay. All right, what are the things?
First, the language isn't actually a Viking script.
Oh.
It's a mix of, I don't know if I'm going to say this right, but I'm going to try.
Okay.
Elder Futhark and Younger Futhark, which predates when the Vikings would have been traveling. So that language is actually earlier.
Oh.
It was like a dead language by that time, I believe.
Okay.
So Dennis Peterson, archaeologist and manager of the Spiro Mounds Archaeological Center, said, quote, "They're also potentially more recent than that too, because the same style of writing was being taught in Northern Europe in the 1800s, much like when we used to have to learn Latin or Greek."
Okay.
So it's a higher probability that somebody who learned Elder Futhark in school came through and left the equivalent of graffiti.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think that's probably what happened, to be honest. Okay. Yeah. Another issue with the runestone is that there's no definitive layout or ornamentation, which doesn't fit with typical Viking runestones. Like, they're kind of just, like, thrown on there. Like, they don't really follow the normal pattern that runestones follow.
Okay.
So it doesn't fully add up.
That makes sense.
The inscriptions also don't match Old Norse grammar and structure. So, yeah. Once you get into, like, all these, you're kind of like, okay, yeah, I know. Probably wasn't Vikings, but I want to believe it was.
I'm still voting for Vikings.
I know, me too. It would also be strange to find actual Viking inscription in Oklahoma when there's a complete lack of inscriptions in, like, Iceland or Greenland, where we know for a fact that the Vikings did travel. They weren't leaving things behind there, like inscriptions. So why would they in Oklahoma?
Yeah, because it's better.
Maybe. Who knows?
It's the best state.
Yeah.
They already know it.
And then lastly, there have been no Viking artifacts found at all near the area. And if they were actually in the area, there should be some sort of evidence of them being here. Yeah. There should be some artifacts found near. That's kind of how, because they can't, like, carbon date.
No, they just knew to pick up after themselves. They were respectful.
See, that's the thing, is, like,
what you pack in, you pack out.
Or we just haven't found it yet. That was 1,000 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, who knows, you know? There were lots of people in and out between that time.
Yeah.
Like, it could have been destroyed. So, I don't know. But, yeah. The thing is, like, they can't use all of the, like, carbon dating, like, all of that stuff to determine the age of inscriptions on something.
Okay.
So, like, they would have to look at kind of other evidence around.
Yeah.
Which would be, like, finding artifacts in the area and that sort of thing. And since there's nothing like that, then, like,
they
kind of have to be like, it probably isn't. Yeah, because there should be some sort of, like, supporting evidence, and there's not, which kind of sucks. But, you know, whatever. So you may be wondering, if they didn't come from Vikings, where did they come from?
Yeah.
So one theory is that the runes were carved by a 19th century Scandinavian immigrant.
Okay.
Likely a Swedish immigrant working at the train depot nearby.
Oh, okay.
So, there was a lot of, like, Scandinavian immigrants in that time and in that area. Yeah. Another theory is that the runestone was carved by someone on a French expedition in the 17th century.
Okay.
Or by a Swedish captain during a period of 18th century French colonization.
Okay.
Even though, most likely, the runestone isn't evidence of Vikings coming to Oklahoma in the 11th century, it hasn't been disproven, so it could still be.
I vote Vikings.
I vote Vikings, too. I want it to be Vikings. Most likely, it was, like, someone from like a Scandinavian country that immigrated here
My heart
during that
says
time,
Vikings.
or was on like some, exploration.
No, my heart says Vikings.
Or it was graffiti from somebody who learned that language.
No, it was the Vikings.
Who knows? I want it to be Vikings too. So.
It is Vikings. Yes.
Okay, we can go with that. That's fine
Okay.
with me. This is not a fact-based episode, so it's
no.
fine.
That's why I'm going to be very opinionated about the.
Great, you can be in this episode, absolutely. So if you want to see the runestone for yourself,
Yes.
you can check it out at Heavener Runestone Park.
Okay.
The park is also home to the annual Heavener Runestone Viking Festival, which will take place this year on September 21st. I looked at their website. I looked on the calendar.
For my birthday?
Yes.
We should
Let's
go
go.
for my birthday.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Here's
so
there's another event that I thought was pretty fun
okay.
that we maybe should go to.
Okay.
They are having a Bigfoot/UFO watch party on June 15th. I don't know why that day. I don't know why they're being combined. I have so many I don't know what you do on that. They're accepting vendor applications at this time.
Can we spell spooky okie merch? Can we get some spooky okie merch?
Wait a minute! Actually, we could. So, if you want to go to a Bigfoot and UFO watch party on June 15th, meet you guys there.
Meet you guys there. Oh, we should do it.
It'll be kind of fun.
That would be so much fun.
We could get some merch in before that.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
We'll discuss. We need to have some. We're going to be having regular meetings anyway because
Yeah.
we're going to be doing Patreon content.
Yes.
We'll figure it out.
Patreon content / planning for the podcast.
Yes.
So excited.
Anyway, that is
Cool.
the story of the Heavener Runestone.
Well done.
Thank you.
I enjoyed that a lot.
I'm glad. Me too. It was a fun one.
All right. Are you ready for mine?
I'm so ready for yours because all I know is the title and wow, I can't wait.
Yes, and I'm not going to say the title yet.
Okay, I won't say
I'm
anything.
going to start in with the story and
Okay.
then
Perfect.
say,
Perfect. I will not spoil it.
try to do my mysterious start.
I love that.
All right.
Mine just said, there's a runestone. That's it.
Okay, Can you remind me at the end to do my sources?
I can sure try. No
Okay.
promises.
Okay. Okay. All right. On a cold December morning in the late 1960s or early 1970s.
Okay.
A farmer walked out to check on his chickens like he did every morning. However, this morning was not like other mornings. This time, he found something profoundly wrong and disturbing.
Oh no.
As he walked into the coop, the door had been ripped from its hinges and was laying on the ground.
Uh-oh.
There were feathers and blood scattered everywhere throughout the coop. It had been a chicken massacre.
Not a chicken massacre. I've had that happen to my house too. It's no fun.
Upon closer examination of the door, he found a print that he had never seen before.
Ooh.
This was the print of the Abominable Chicken Man.
Incredible. Wonderful.
Thank you. Okay, so my story is about the El Reno Chicken Man. Or the Abominable Chicken Man.
This is insane already. What is this name? Who named it?
I don't know. But it is amazing.
Cannot wait to hear more about
I
this.
found
Wow.
this at midnight last night, and I was like, I've never heard of this, and I have to cover this.
That is wild.
This is relatively short, but I have to cover
It
it.
doesn't matter. It's worth it.
It's worth its weight.
We also talked enough at the beginning, so
Yeah.
I think we're fine.
Okay, so let's talk about what is the Abominable Chicken Man.
I am dying to know. I'm dying to know.
So he is said to be an ape-like, Bigfoot-like creature that can either walk on all four legs or up on two legs.
Okay.
It is dark in color and fast-moving.
Okay.
The prints were 7 inches long
Mm-hmm.
and 5 inches wide.
Okay.
Um,
Wide foot.
Yeah. So the farmer in our tale had never seen these prints before. So he called a state game ranger to the property to investigate what creature could have caused the brutal scene.
Okay. Okay.
The ranger had never seen any prints like these either. So they sent the entire door with the prince to the Oklahoma City Zoo.
He said, will you guys try to match it with one of your animals? Try to figure out what it is.
I know. So much. So they wanted to see if the experts there could identify the type of animal that it belonged to.
Uh-huh.
However, much to the farmers' dismay, the zoo officials were also at a loss as to what terrifying creature could have caused these prints.
Wild.
Lawrence Curtis, the zoo director at the time, stated that the prints resembled that of a gorilla, but was more like a man.
Ooh, okay.
The thumb of the print, he said, was crooked, like it was deformed or that it had been injured.
Oh, okay.
It seemed to him that whatever had made the prints was walking on all fours based on the prints on the door and the ground outside. So they had taken some pictures of prints on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
A quote from newspaper.com. I don't know why I love this so much. Whatever it was barefoot. Barefoot in December.
That's the craziest part so far.
Like, well, if it's a creature, of course it's going to be barefoot.
Did you expect it to have shoes on? It's eating raw chickens. It's massacring a chicken coop.
I was like,
You expect it to be wearing shoes?
I'm like, that still doesn't prove that it's not a person.
It could be a person.
It could be a person that's just dedicated to, like, throwing suspicion off themselves.
That's
and so they're
true.
not wearing shoes.
It
Like,
could be a hippie.
Yeah.
They don't like shoes.
I just, whatever it was barefoot. Barefoot in December.
My goodness.
So Lawrence Curtis said that they also showed the prints to other mammalogists and wildlife experts, and they all agreed that the prints appeared to be some sort of primate.
Okay.
Curtis said these prints were made by some sort of primate or man, perhaps one in search of chickens. No, duh.
My thought is, do we know it's not Bigfoot? Like, how do we know it's a different creature? Why can't it just be Bigfoot?
I don't know.
It sounds like Bigfoot to me.
It sounds like Bigfoot.
Bigfoot could eat chickens.
I know.
Okay, weird.
I
love a cryptid.
I
Man,
know.
I love a cryptid.
Curtis noted that there were only 3 known animals in the state of Oklahoma of sufficient size and strength to rip a sturdy door from its hinges. Because everything they've talked about and like it wasn't like a screen chicken coop door. It seemed like it was a solid wood door.
Listen, if it's a door like we make around my house, around my farm, it's not going to take much to take it off the hinges. So this might not prove anything.
Okay. He said that the only 3 animals that he could think of that would have sufficient strength to rip off the door was that we have in Oklahoma are bears, mountain lions, and human beings.
Yeah.
And
that tracks.
And a human could have simply just opened the door.
Right.
Unless they were trying to make it seem like...
Yeah.
That seems
like
extreme.
Yeah.
On Friday the 13th of November 1970...
Of course it was.
near El Reno, a couple of hunters encountered a Sasquatch.
They say that so matter of fact.
It was around 2 a.m. It was cold. There was snow on the ground, and it was a full moon. The hunters were parked east of the Foreman Road bridge along the south bank of the North Canadian River. While in their vehicle, they sipped on some coffee. One of the hunters saw a skunk walking towards the car, so he got out and shot it.
Aw.
I know.
I love skunks.
I do too. As he was outside of the car, he felt like he was being watched. He looked
Probably
over
the
his
spirit of that skunk he just killed.
Yeah. He looked over. You say that, but we'll circle back.
Okay. Okay.
He looked over his right shoulder towards the bank of the river and saw a large shadow behind a fallen tree. He turned to look over his left shoulder to see what was causing the shadow, and he saw 2 red eyes.
Mothman?
That's what I thought too.
I love Mothman.
I know, this is like a mixture of creatures. I love it. He thought at first they were red reflectors, but then the eyes blinked. He asked his friend to get out of the car and looked. He pointed to the shadow and it moved. They heard something as large as a refrigerator splash into the river.
Ah, yes, that very familiar sound of a refrigerator jumping in the river. Yes, I'm following.
So specific.
Ridiculous.
They ran to look and saw a tall, upright gorilla run along the sandbar of the river. They were shocked by what they saw, and they felt like nobody would believe them, so they decided to keep the encounter a secret. Until, a short while later, they heard the story of the El Reno Chicken Man.
Pretty convenient.
Pretty convenient.
Yep. I'm still holding out hope that it was Mothman, because those red eyes.
I know.
The sexiest of cryptids.
There were also reports from Oklahomans who had encountered similar prints. There was a man in Stillwater, a woman in McAllister, and both had claimed to see similar prints. The woman even mailed Lawrence Curtis a photo of the prints for comparison.
Okay. So we're talking either a creature who covers a lot of area.
Yeah.
Because these are all very far apart. Like hundreds of miles apart.
Yes.
Or,
and just to be...
or an entire species that has only recently, in that one little time, been discovered.
Yeah.
And then disappeared again, I assume?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because just to clarify, Stillwater, for those who don't know Oklahoma, is 100 miles northeast of El Reno.
Mm-hmm.
And then McAllister is 150 miles southeast of McAllister.
Yeah, they're far apart.
Yeah, so they're very far apart. When asked about the wide distances between the reporting locations for such prints, Lawrence Curtis said if there is one, there is more than one. There has to be more than one unless he's hitchhiking. I love these quotes.
These are amazing. I can't believe this was real. Like, this was a thing being reported and being investigated.
This was in newspapers. Like, this was, I could see the original newspaper on newspapers.com.
This is insane. I love it so much. Oh my goodness.
He said there are no zoos in El Reno, no circuses, and no one known to be keeping a gorilla.
Great. Covered all your bases there.
Yeah. The Oklahoma Journal on Sunday, the 28th of February, 1971, suggested that this El Reno Chicken Man was a chimpanzee that had escaped from a zoo.
Okay.
However, the farmers who had seen the El Reno Chicken Man described the creature as a tall gorilla with black fur that walks on two legs, which, I mean, chimps can walk on two legs.
But also,
they're
wouldn't
not
the
be...
zookeepers have known that the chimp print?
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
Yeah. Over the next 20 plus years, the sightings of the El Reno Chicken Man decreased. Mm-hmm. So it was believed that this man or creature had either died or moved on. However, on Friday the 13th of September 2002...
Oh, very recent.
A couple of wildlife biologists were in the woods of El Reno setting up motion-sensitive cameras a few miles north of the North Canadian River, which again is where the other
other friends were with the refrigerator story. Yes.
With the refrigerator story, yes. So they had walked a ways into the woods when one of the biologists decided to return to the vehicle and move it closer to the trail.
Okay.
The biologist remaining in the woods saw a white-tailed buck trot nearby, so he attempted to follow. Mm-hmm. He had not gone far when a large black creature ran out from behind a tree.
Well, that's terrifying.
It ran on two legs rapidly across a break in the narrow band of trees. The creature appeared to be a tall and muscular gorilla with wide shoulders.
Huh.
It also ran stooped over like it was trying to hide.
Not doing a very good job if it ran out of the tree line, but okay. I am more likely to believe this story because they are, like, professionals.
I know. The Oklahoma Journal announced in a front page story, "Hen house terror, just monkey stuff."
Who is coming up with these headlines? This is ridiculous.
I love it.
Oh my goodness.
A man named Howard Dreesen, who operated a sawmill in Calumet, 13 miles west of El Reno, had seen a chimpanzee in the woods several times and had tried unsuccessfully to catch it.
Okay.
So, zoo director Curtis suggested that perhaps the chimp may have escaped from a psychology laboratory at the University of Oklahoma in Norman.
They were keeping chimps?
Apparently. I had no idea.
Oh.
Although he said that the prints were definitely not from a chimp.
Oh, okay.
So he said the prints were not from a chimp, but, like, perhaps the creature that they're seeing
Right. It's something different.
It's something different than what the prints are
Well,
from.
what made the prints?
No clue.
Oh my goodness. What a mystery.
A check with the laboratory in question elicited amused assurance that no chimps were missing.
So they did have chimps, though.
Apparently. I have no idea.
I don't think that's good.
No. Dreesen himself believes that the animal escaped from a circus train wreck or derailment near Mulhall some years ago.
Oh, yeah.
It was determined, however, that the wreck was a minor one and that no animals ever escaped from that wreck.
I had heard that there was a circus train wreck in Oklahoma and that animals did escape.
Yeah, I've heard that too. So either it got blown out of proportion and everybody just...
Or they're covering.
So there's no...
How long do chimps live? They have a long lifespan, right?
Yeah, they...
so it's very reasonable that like one that escaped.
Let's see if this was seen in the 1970s and then they saw it again in 2002, it could easily have been because they'll live like 50s. Yeah. In the wild, they'll live into their like late 40s, 50s. Okay. And then in captivity, they can live up into their 60s. Okay. But so nobody. I haven't seen any more recent sightings, but yeah.
That is wild.
So it is very similar to another cryptid, and so I thought I would go ahead and mention it. It's not an Oklahoma cryptid, but I had never heard of this one before.
Oh, okay. I love cryptids.
It is similar to the skunk ape in Florida.
What? Amazing. Okay.
So the skunk ape is commonly described as a bipedal human, walking on two legs, ape-like creature, approximately 5 to 7 feet tall, and covered in mottled reddish-brown hair. The skunk ape is often reported to be smaller in stature compared to traditional descriptions of Bigfoot. From northern United States. It is named for its foul odor, often described as being similar to a skunk.
He just needs a bath.
I know, he's just a little stinky.
Don't be mean to him.
I know. But there was nothing in any of the reports that talked about a smell with
so probably not.
Chicken Man, so that's why they don't think it's the same creature. It's just
interesting that they saw a skunk in one of the stories, and then...
That's why I said it would circle back.
Yeah.
Because...
Okay.
So, that's the story of the El Reno Chicken Man. Abominable Chicken Man.
Amazing. Love it so much. Great job. Great job. Oh, man, I love a cryptid.
So good. Okay, now let me read my sources before I forget. Okay. So, I had reddit.com, cryptozoonews.com, phantomsandmonsters.com, whatliesbeyond.boards.net, rothline.com, SasquatchChronicles.com, which is why I don't want to read my sources yet.
I get it, yeah.
And newspapers.com.
Amazing. Wonderful. So good.
Thank you.
What a good episode to end with.
That's what I thought. I was like, what a crazy story. I've never heard of that before.
Neither.
I was like, this is a great one to end on.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, I love it. Perfect. All right. That was season 2.
That was season 2, guys.
We're done.
Thanks, you guys, for listening. Don't forget, if you like the episode, make sure to subscribe, follow, like, all the things. So make sure to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Follow us on Instagram at Spooky Okie Podcast. Subscribe on YouTube at Spooky Okie Podcast. We're on TikTok.
We sure are.
We don't have much, but we're gonna add more in our meetings that we're gonna.
We sure are. Yeah, we are. Now that we're not doing all the research for the episodes, we're gonna really focus on that side of things.
Yes.
So. And we're gonna focus on Patreon content. So make sure you join the Patreon for $3 a month.
Yes.
Because this break, our hiatus in between seasons, is gonna be focused on making sure Patreon still has lots of content and things like that. So.
So don't forget to subscribe on Patreon. It's only $3 a month.
And you don't want to miss out.
I know.
That's
where you get all the extra spooky content.
You're going to feel so left out if you're not on there.
Yeah. Yeah. You're going to have a break of Spooky Okie Podcast. You don't want to have a break.
It'd be terrible.
Anyway. Don't forget to follow me on TikTok because I'm still trying to get more followers. Catherine Longest.
Yes. Follow her on TikTok.
Yes.
if you have any story suggestions, recommendations, anything like that, you can go ahead and email them to spookyokiepodcast@gmail.com because we'll still be checking that. We're still going to be prepping things for next season, so we'd love to throw in some of your stories. Yeah, that's about it.
I think that's it.
I think so.
All right. Thanks, guys, for listening. We will talk to you guys again when we come back for season 3.
Yeah.
Stay spooky.
Stay spooky.